White Day: A Labyrinth Named School is a 2001 Korean survival horror that was sure to make the blood of certain uncultured Westerners boil based on the name alone. But for those who aren't familiar with White Day, allow me to explain. White Day is a holiday recognized in South Korea, Japan, and a few other Eastern countries that takes place exactly 1 month past Valentine's Day. In these countries, Valentine's Day is often a day for women to gift chocolates to the boys they are affectionate towards. White Day is the day for those men to reciprocate and gift these ladies chocolates, jewelry, or other traditional gifts in return. The game has long been a cult classic among horror fans and even seen strange ports to mobile devices. In 2015, the original game got a remake, and in 2017, it got its first ever official Western release. As a huge fan of early to mid 2000s survival horror games, the prospect of getting a classic survival horror that is new to me excited me greatly. But was White Day really worth the wait? Let's find out. In White Day: A Labyrinth Named School, you play as a boy named Lee Hugh-min. If I butchered that, I will just be calling him Lee from here on out. Lee is a new transfer student to the school and woefully unaware of the strange happenings that go on there. 1 month prior to the start of the game, Lee was gifted chocolates by a student named Han So-young, a last name that makes me feel more uncomfortable than I really want to admit. As per tradition, the time to reciprocate has come. Lee sneaks into the school after hours with plans to deliver chocolates to So-young's locker as a surprise for her on White Day. Lee, of course, learns the hard way that this school after hours is not quite as it seems during the day. As he enters, he finds himself locked in the school in the midst of a supernatural and paranormal occurrence, and the game begins. The real goal from here on out more or less becomes about escaping the school. You'll meet many characters along the way, and dialogue options with them will allow the player to arrive at different endings for more replayability. The game offers a number of different difficulties, and as you go up in difficulty, the puzzles get bigger and more cryptic, and you get far less mechanics to help you out. I played the game on normal difficulty and only seen streams of easier and harder ones, so this review will be done from the perspective of normal difficulty. As you go through the school, you will collect items, documents, keys, and maps. The documents come in many different forms. Some are simple staff notes, some are ghost stories that can get quite lengthy, and some others are just rumors shared among students. It is not only recommended, but imperative that you read all of these. The puzzles in White Day can be very cryptic, and without reading the documents, they can seem downright impossible to figure out. By the time I made it to the 3rd chapter of this game, I actually started a Google Doc on my tablet to start writing down specific bits of information I found in these notes that I thought might be hints for solving puzzles. I recommend players do something similar, so that they won't be rereading their articles over and over again in search of some grain of a hint for them to progress. It may sound like I'm being a bit negative here, as these puzzles are tough to figure out, but I actually tend to love puzzles that require management on behalf of the player like this. Searching for these hints, recognizing them, being rewarded for putting in the hard work, and learning where and how to use your collected items just feels good to me. But there is one thing that can make puzzle solving a massive slog. In White Day, there's not so much in the way of enemies. In fact, I think there's probably only 5 or 6 overall. But one enemy in particular can and will plague your entire experience, and this is, of course, the janitor. At the start of the game, you witness the janitor beating a kid, what I assume is to death, with a baseball bat, so you know this guy means business. Have you ever felt your parents' wrath when you step into the house with muddy shoes right after they cleaned the floor? This janitor is exactly what you would get if your parents' bite was just as bad as their bark. So stay the hell away. As you explore the school, you can look through windows and into perpendicular parts of the school to spot where the janitor is and know where you should avoid going. Where there are no windows, you can listen by the door for the sounds of jangling keys or whistling. If you hear any of these things, stay still and hidden. On easy mode, you will get an extra icon on screen to help you understand the janitor's detection. On normal and above, you have no such help. Don't move unless crouching, because I kid you not, your character wears the world's heaviest shoes. The janitor also hates open doors and turned on lights, so shut doors behind you and leave the lights off. You will get a lighter early on, which will help you see things in the dark, and give you a light source that does not aggro the janitor. Though I think the jury is out on whether or not it aggroes the game's second janitor. There were several times when not moving and behind closed doors with lights on, I still managed to aggro the janitor, and the only thing I could see as a cause might have been the lighter. If you do get caught by the janitor, run and hide. There is no way to defend yourself in this game, and honestly, that feels like a massive setback to me. Something as simple as a shove would have been groundbreaking here. School bathrooms are great places to hide, but before the end I got really tired of seeing the floors in these places. When you're caught, you'll need to stay hidden until you can no longer hear the janitors. Unfortunately, they move so slow that this can literally take 10 minutes or more at times. I've heard some people say they finished this game in 3 hours. How that's possible, I have no idea. It literally took me 8 hours from start to finish in a blind playthrough on normal. None of these janitors' mechanics would really be that bad if they didn't have a detection range that was on par with the range of an intercontinental ballistic missile. The janitor at times feels like a hacker in an FPS using an aimbot. It gets really old really fast and really wore on my patience. I found myself constantly going on suicide runs to solve puzzles due to my completely spent patience. This is not how the game was meant to be played, and from what I understand, that's because the janitor was never meant to have this much sensitivity. This is something I truly feel needs to be addressed, as it takes the quality of life in the game down to abysmal levels. In line with old survival horrors, you need items to save. Much like ribbon for typewriters in Resident Evil, you need felt-tip pens to write on bulletin board photos in White Day. These are finite, so you'll need to choose your saves wisely. I don't mind this mechanic, but with the janitor being what he is, I felt like I was spending saves to avoid annoyance, which kinda ruins the point of the whole thing. Now, while I do love the puzzles and approach to them in this game, there are a few points where they simply don't work, again in the quality of life department. These come mainly during sections that utilize QuickTime events. In this event here, I need to outrun this crazed woman. I arrive at a fuse box, dodge a couple knife attacks, pull a switch, and she's defeated. At least she's defeated if I placed the fuse in the right spot first. But without knowing I'd have to fight her and use this fuse to defeat her, why in the hell would I have ever placed the fuse in that box ahead of time? I didn't see any note that said I should do this for this moment in time. It's possible I missed it, but this approach, making unpredictable pre-planning a necessity lest you get game over, is just another kind of annoying oversight. When you do get game over, the game will load your last manually loaded save file or the last autosave point. What it doesn't load, but probably should, is your last manually saved file, as that is more often than not the file that is the furthest in. When the game loads the wrong file, you need to boot to main menu and manually load the save it already should have. Occasionally while exploring, you will get random jump scares that can deal damage to you. At least these seem random. They are definitely telegraphed, and you will be able to tell when they're coming after experiencing them just a small handful of times. I'd like to say using the tranquilizers you get to calm your nerves can prevent these jump scares from happening, but honestly, I've never been able to tell if they worked, so I had quite the stockpile of them by the end. One last annoyance I'd like to drop here is in regards to the vending machines. Items in here cost 1 or 3 coins. Several times I put in 2 coins so I could buy 2 1-coin items. Well, it doesn't work that way. You can buy 1 single coin item, then the second coin you put in disappears. And these coins are not the easiest thing to get or come across, so losing them kinda sucks. The game is fully voiced and the voice actors do a pretty good job.
Welcome. First time in the girls' bathroom?
The music in the game, man, I actually really love the music here, although there really isn't that much of it. The graphics leave something to be desired, but they're really not bad, aside from some funny animations here and there. So while I do overall like the puzzles and the lore you uncover in the school, and really dig a lot of its atmosphere and visuals, the game is unfortunately far more frustrating than it's worth. Many people have recommended doing a first playthrough on easy and then switching up to normal or harder on a second playthrough, but honestly, I don't see that making the game any easier on subsequent playthroughs, as all my difficulties come from technical issues with the way the game is coded. Such technical issues don't change on subsequent playthroughs. Your amount of experience getting through the game on easy is not going to help deal with these technical issues that much on a second playthrough, and honestly, after suffering through one playthrough, I can't see why many people would want to suffer through a second one, at least not until the janitor's crazy detection gets addressed. While I'm definitely happy to have finally got the chance to play this cult classic, I think some decisions made in the re-release really destroyed the game's enjoyment. If I were to recommend this game, it's only to the most patient of people and the most devout horror fans, and at a price below its retail value. If your gaming tendencies and your purchase price don't make those criteria, maybe just steer clear for a while. But that's all I'm going to say on White Day. I'm keeping this one a little short and a little sweet, so thanks for watching. Hey guys, thanks for sticking it through to the end. If you like what you've seen here, give it a like and sub if you want to see more. This is the first video in the second annual Spooptober, and I hope you guys like what's to come.